Thank everyone for coming out tonight. We will begin with a moment of silence. Thank you. Ben, it's your turn to lead us in the pledge.
Seriously. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, review and adoption of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
All in favor? Thank you. Approval of minutes, August 28th, 2023, regular meeting minutes. Look over those and make a motion when you're ready.
Make a motion to approve August 28th regular meeting minutes.
All in favor? Thank you. Public comments?
There are
No public comments, okay. All right, number 6, public hearing. So I open this public hearing for ZTA 2023-2 regarding the creation of a conditional zoning district, and ZTA 2023-4 regarding the units per acre in R10. Who has a comment?
Well, no public comment.
We need to close the public hearing before you go.
Oh,
Is there-
Okay.
Yeah,
does the public have any comments?
normally we let her discuss it and then we
Then
see
you
if there's any
close.
comments. Then we close.
Okay.
Because it doesn't look like you're talking.
True. Okay. Perfect. Well, we will start with ZTA 23-2, the creation of a conditional zoning district. So we recently passed the comprehensive development plan, and part of that was looking at housing options, increasing density for housing, and diversifying our tax base. Town of Hildebran staff requested this text amendment that would make a lot of changes. It's in my staff packet, you'll see the total changes proposed of where, due to it being a creation of a new zoning district. But the main changes are made in section 10.4 regarding planned unit developments, and 8.9 is the creation of conditional zoning district and all the regulations that go along with that. In addition, there's update to a planned unit development definition, as stated below, the use requirements and the zoning district the removal of planned unit developments as a special use, due to it being a conditional use. And section 10.4 will be a repeal and replace. So I included a presentation for y'all so I can go over the highlights of this district because it's got a lot of information. So I'm just going to review that with you, and then if you have any in-depth questions about changes, I'm more than happy to answer those as well. All changes are shown in my memo. So a conditional zoning district, the intent is when circumstances arise when a general zoning district designation would not be appropriate for a certain property, but specific uses permitted under the district would be consistent with the objectives. In order to accommodate that, this section establishes the conditional zoning process. It's not intended to have speculative zoning, but rather have a firm development proposal in place. It will be only applicable with planned unit developments. And planned unit developments are multiple units of housing under one single ownership. So that's different from a subdivision. If I were to do a subdivision process that has separate regulations, and that is when you're separating each parcel out, and then each of them have their own deed. A planned unit development is one parcel with multiple living units. Think like townhomes, but all under one ownership, or apartments would be another example. So the process will follow a legislative rezoning process through a zoning map amendment, so it's similar to the ZPA process that we're doing right now. The planning board will provide a recommendation, and town council of its own accord can require reasonable and appropriate conditions be attached to the approval of the petition. Conditions must be approved by the petitioner and council in order to take effect. Like any other rezoning, it must be in conformance with the surrounding area. So for example, and we'll get into examples of what conditions are, but these would be shown on a site plan that y'all would essentially engage in a negotiating process with the developer so that you can maybe make concessions in one thing to get something else that you would want with that housing. So we're given this authority by General State Statute 160B-703B. And that just shows us the right of why we have a conditional zoning district and why it's possible. The types of conditions say that they can be use restrictions, site development details such as setbacks, buffers, infrastructure development agreements in congruence with the conditional district for financing and social equity. You may not pass any conditions that involve racial, ethnic, religious discrimination, development ownership, or renter or owner occupied. So you cannot require it to be owner occupied or renter occupied. So let's see. And it says that the conditions impacts must be reasonably expected to be generated to the development or use of the site. An example would be if they were behind like a single family home, you might ask for a heavier buffer, so more trees or heavier trees in the back so that that residential single family home is not overburdened. This is the definition of a planned unit development. The purpose is to promote high design standards, minimize sprawl, traffic congestion, and other barriers, and it also allows for a mix of housing types. Permitted uses, so technically in a planned unit development, you can have mixed uses. For example, you can have commercial on the bottom and retail, and then living units on the top. Something like the one North Center in Hickory, you could do something like that. The only uses that are allowed to be combined are given rights by neighborhood business. So in our neighborhood business section, there's a specific list of uses, and I used those because those have already been stated to be compatible with housing. Additional requirements of the zoning district I'm proposing would mean it needs to follow the underlying zoning dimensional requirements for cohesive purposes. So for example, if they were to propose a planned unit development in your downtown central business district, that's 100% built upon area and has no setbacks. But if I were to request it in something that's zoned neighborhood business, they would have to follow those zoning requirements of those setbacks so that it's not built upon 100% area or anything like that. So it must match that district's setbacks and requirements. 10% open space, any design and landscaping standards that follow the retail use or commercial use and that district. They must also follow. A master plan must be presented with the conditional zoning request in order to evaluate that the requirements are met. The next slide is just the uses that are permitted in a planned unit development, conditional rezoning. For example, banks, barber shops, bed and breakfast, community facilities, printing and copy services, retail establishments, etc. It's also important to keep in mind that you are not required to approve a conditional zoning request if you do not feel it's compatible with the area. So this is not like a special use permit where if they meet all of the standards for the most part, and unless there's concerns about the public safety, it must be met. With this conditional zoning district, there's a little bit more leniency. So you will never be required to, if they meet everything, to pass it if you do not feel it's compatible with the area. Same for those mixed uses that were listed. in an area that you don't feel are compatible. Other changes, I just showed you how the use table will look. Now with permitted conditions being next to planned unit development and still being in section 10.4. And then the updated references of it being removed as a special use. And then I just wanted to touch base about how this is in consistency with our comprehensive development plan. The economic development recommendation states downtown areas offer opportunities for higher density housing where people can live, walk, and safely walk to goods and services. High density housing infrastructure in downtown areas allows for the recruitment of new residents locating from the area. And recommendation 5 states increase the diversity of Hildebran tax base by encouraging young adults and aging population to move to the area. 5.1 states encourage housing infrastructure for the recruitment of new residents. And then our land use recommendations state it's important to provide a selection of housing options, including affordable housing. Apartments are an option for affordable housing, especially located near retail centers, downtowns, activity centers. And then potential opportunities for available for residential development in downtown Hildebran through mixed-use development. Mixed-use development produces a sense of community by combining dwellings with businesses, providing housing option with a downtown feel. So, like I said, the memo outlines all of the changes that would be included. Planning board did offer a recommendation of approval due to these consistencies. Let's see if there's anything else that I want to bring to your attention. There are already conditions placed on or found in the conditional district with project dimensions, parking, lot dimensions, pedestrian walkways, etc., open space, utilities. So all of that is covered within that district of 8.9 that they would have to follow and include in the site plan when y'all were reviewing it. The negotiating process could be something like wanting to loosen up on or allowing for sidewalks to count as the open space requirement in order for them to do that setback, something like that. And both parties would have to agree and sign off on it. And they would have to adhere to that site plan. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions because I know that was a lot of information.
So we're saying to make a motion.
And the motion is found on.
I'm still supposed to have public comment.
Oh, that's right.
Is there any public comment?
I don't think we have any public comment.
Hearing none, we will move on.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, that's right, we're
We
doing,
have to close public hearing
do I need to use the
and then go to 7, don't I?
Yeah, we might wanna go on to.
and then I have to use the
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's another one, okay. Let me get to that one. Okay. CTA 23-4 regarding the units per acre in R10. This is also in response to our comprehensive development plan and addressing density. The R10 district is our high density housing district. R20 is the low density housing. And this is intentionally, but if you look at the zoning map, you'll be able to see where R10 is. I believe it's the one, yellow, or no, orange. So you can look at locations this would be in place. Currently in our zoning ordinance, units per acre in R10 are high density district and R20 are low density district are the same, which doesn't make a lot of sense because one is supposed to be high density and one is supposed to be lower density, but they both allow the same units per acre. So in order to allow for that distinguishment between the two, that's the best word, There will be a change to 8.2C. That would change the maximum units per acre from 8 to 9. And in the ordinance, the way this would look is we would maintain the 10,000 square feet minimum lot area, which would be if we were to do multifamily, the first unit would still need to meet 10,000 square feet minimum lot area. The second unit would go down to 5,000, and any additional units after that for this multifamily situation would be 3,000 square feet for each additional attached unit with up to 9 units per acre. So instead of 8. And that would be the change we are requesting. It still needs to meet setbacks, and impervious surface, watershed. It will maintain all of those requirements. It just allows for a distinguishment between our high density and low density, and encouraging the multifamily housing in areas that we have already identified as a location for higher density housing. Now, any questions?
Is there any public comment on what she just said? Okay. Now, hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we can go to 7. 7A, consider approval of ZT 23-2 regarding creation of conditional zoning district.
There is a visual inconsistency statement. For the first one is the one on the map.
Go ahead, Joe.
I, Jody York, make a motion to approve the updated language to create a conditional zoning district 8.9 and the corresponding changes regarding planned unit developments 10.4 of the Town of Hildebran zoning ordinance. I found that the proposed text amendment is consistent with the Town of Hildebran's comprehensive plan due to the desire to provide a selection of housing in the Town of Hildebran and diversify the tax base. The request to update planned unit development language is reasonable and in the public interest due to its ability to create a sense of community and increase the walkable, bikeable areas in town.
Okay, all in favor with what she just said? Thank you. Now, 7D, consider approval of ZTA 2023-4 regarding the units per acre in R10.
You want me to do it?
Sure.
Ben Honeycutt make a motion to approve the change to section 8.2.C R-10 zoning district regarding replacing a maximum of 8 units per acre to 9. I find that the proposed text amendment is consistent with the Town of Hildebran comprehensive plan. Due to the desire to provide a selection of housing in the Town of Hildebran and allow higher density multifamily housing in the R-10 district. The request to update planned unit development language is reasonable and in the public interest due to its placement being proximity to downtown and major roads.
All in favor? Thank you. 7C, appoint planning board member to fulfill vacant position that expires June 30th, 2025. And we have your applications in your packet.
Everybody has their little
Oh,
ballots
yeah,
at
the
their
little ballot.
desk. If you'll get one and sign your name and then pass it.
Okay, so it was 4-1 for Mary Longman. We just need a motion and vote to appoint her.
Who wants to make the motion?
I'll make a motion. We accept, Mary Longman on the table.
All in favor? Thank you. 7B, consider approval of the River Trail for Burke County feasibility study. And this was what was presented at our last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the River Trails feasibility study.
All in favor? Thank you. Now, new business. 8A, code enforcement quarterly review, Chad Powell.
The mayor and council members, good to see everybody. So we'll start the code enforcement section of the agenda off with a Q3 report. And I've also got a monthly report for September, that way you guys have a visualization of the latest violations. So for Q3, we had 47 total violations. 16 of those were nuisance grass or plant overgrowth. 21 were nuisance trash, junk, debris, etc. 6 junk vehicles, 3 minimum housing, and 1 non-res running standard. The violations in this quarter, 37 of the 47 have been resolved, so we're looking at 79% resolution rate so far. 18 nuisance trash, junk, and debris violations resolved, 5 of the junk vehicles, and 14 of the overgrown grass. I've got a list of all of our violations to date for the third quarter, and then also I've got a list of our currently open cases. If you guys have any questions about any of that, feel free to let me know. I will answer to the best of my ability without having access to case notes.
Keep up the good work.
Pretty good record, 37 off 47.
Yeah. That one snuck up on me because I felt like I wasn't getting a whole lot of compliance. And then when I crunched the numbers, I was like, oh.
He's got the next 3 out of 4.
Yeah, go ahead.
Y'all ready to move on to 8B? That one is a proposal ordinance to vacate and close the dwelling as fit for habitation. I've got a little presentation for you there. Give you a couple of things and some photographs of the dwelling. The way that this one came about, I have received a complaint from a tenant of one of the neighboring rental units here on May the 11th. And they let me know, they were actually complaining about the unit that they lived in. When I was out there, I noticed 2 vacant mobile homes in the same park. And they told me that they had issues with homeless vagrants breaking in there. And it's like a drug den. So that is what the result of this is. The dwelling that they actually lived in, the owner has done what he needed to do on that one, so that one's no longer an issue. This one, the one at lot number 8 and lot number 9, which is next, they're identical circumstances. Vacant mobile homes, Nobody's living there, and the property owner has informed me that he's either going to, if this is passed, so they're no longer unsecure. All I would have to do to effectuate this ordinance would be go out and put placards on the property. And then if he catches anybody in there, then he can have them arrested for trespassing. After a year, if they remain in the same condition, then I will probably send him an order to tear them down.
If they're still standing.
Yeah, which he told me that he is either going to fix them up or get rid of them. He will do one or the other, and then after 12 months, I'll kind of push his hand on it. You get long enough. But basically, all this would do, like I said, there's no anticipated cost on this because he did board them up. So we're not going to have to do that. I just going to have to put the placards and keep an eye on it, make sure that nothing changes.
What if for some reason, after he's boarded it up, somebody still
Anybody
gets in there?
that goes in there now, they can be arrested for trespassing. It's clear at this point that nobody should be living in there. So if anybody's in there, if they don't have a tool belt on and they're in there swinging a hammer trying to fix the place, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to articulate they have a lawful reason to be there.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't read. That was B. C, consider approval of ordinance directing the town to vacate and close property as unfit for human habitation. And that is the same address, lot 9.
This circumstance is identical to the one I just described. Same property, same owner, the exact same circumstances. Vacant trailer, nobody's living there. It was burglarized. And I think somebody got fried trying to do something with electricity out there. Don't know when that occurred. But this circumstance is exactly identical to the other. So we got two separate ordinances for your consideration. Like I said, if these are passed, then I would just go out there and post placards on the property and keep an eye on them for the next 12 months.
Do we need a motion on each one of them separately?
Let's do, if you don't have
I make a motion directing the town to vacate and close property as unfit for human habitation, 3630 Curly's Fish Camp Road West, Lot 8.
All in favor? Why not?
I make a motion directing the town to vacate and close property as unfit for human habitation, 3630 Curly's Fish Camp Road West, Lot 9.
All in favor? All right, D, consider approval of ordinance directing the town to repair, alter, or improve property described as unfit for human habitation, 208 US Highway 70A East. That was a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, this one, I got a lot of material on this one.
And I'm surprised you was able to get around the whole house.
In one day.
That one takes good footwear. So, the deal with this one, initially when I had a case out there, it was based on the loose trash and junk that scattered around. So we had the non-res buildings next door to it that were torn down previously by the owner. This was the same property owner that had that whole section there, the two non-residential buildings in this house. When I met with the property owner, one of the property owners and his attorney, they determined that there's some questionable circumstances with the people that are living there. The attorney referred to them as squatters, but from what I've gathered and doing my own investigation, whoever was living there has at one time had permission to live there, so they would need to be evicted. But for whatever reason, the property owner hasn't wanted to evict them. So my recommendation, since the property owner hasn't took that action, I've not been able to get in the place to get a full picture of how bad it is. I just know looking at it from the outside, it's mostly nuisance type issues. but we can address those under the minimum housing ordinance, and it would allow us to go in there and basically clean it up. And what I would recommend would be to, get with a crew and put a dumpster out there, and then work with the people who are living there to get rid of all that stuff. And then anything that they don't get rid of, we'll go in with the crew and probably just pick up anything that the people didn't put in that yard and put it in the dump. Because it's just a mess out there.
So you need another motion.
Yes.
I'll make that motion to approve ordinance directing the town to repair, alter, or improve property described as unfit for human habitation at 208 US Highway 78 East.
All in favor? Thank you.
Huh?
You're gonna get eaten rats in Howard Road.
All right, AD September facilities report.
Thank you.
That's in your packet. I don't guess there's any comment on that. 8F August tax report. It's in your packet. 8G August deputy report.
Got it there in front of
Yep.
me. Any questions this evening about it, but I won't say Chad's doing a fine job.
All right. H, there's no questions on any of those. H, committee reports. Transportation coordinating committee.
Yes, we had a housing meeting that day, so I wasn't able to attend. I did send you a copy of the agenda, and just to go over it, they had a couple items, in terms of business, transportation improvement program revisions for approval, transportation improvement program revisions for release, prioritization 7.0 draft submittals, and schedule changes, updated draft public involvement plan. They did 1.6 million in locally administered project supplemental requests, and then a presentation by Taylor Dellinger for the vehicle occupancy rates data presentation. That was what they covered. If you have any questions once you read the report, just feel free to reach out.
Transportation advisory committee.
I don't have anything to add.
Western Piedmont Council Government Policy Board.
Which will be meeting tomorrow.
Burke Economic Development.
So I was at the ASU Local Government Alumni Conference for that. However, in the state budget, they were awarded, I believe, $30 million for the mega site on the west side of the county. So that'll be for water and sewer infrastructure, and I believe some other demolition, grading, things along those lines. That's all I got.
Okay. Recreation and Tourism.
No, 2 or 4.
Water Resource Committee.
That's me. So we had a presentation from the State Department of Environmental Quality. And they have released a new watershed ordinance, which is in our zoning ordinance, to bring us up to state standard. I've begun drafting that, and I have one draft, but that will be coming to planning board, and then y'all at some point, once I get everything together, they've provided a template. The biggest change is that they required density averaging, which is a type of watershed thing. So that will be the biggest change, is that's now a requirement. The deadline to get this passed is December 2024, so we have plenty of time. And he asked that we contact him directly with the template before, or with our ordinance before we pass it. So those are all the steps that are taken, but it's in its first draft form.
Okay, library board, we meet tomorrow. Events committee. Great meeting.
So currently, first things first, looking at a budget of about $3,000 currently. What that would comprise is a carriage for Santa, some type of vehicle for the council to ride in, candy and Hildebran basketballs to throw out during the parade, during the council's walkthrough. A band for possibly the Friday night before the event, so having some type of chorus or band concert on the Friday night before, December 1st would be the date. And then a drone for pictures. Last year we used Steve Gray's, probably use Steve again this year. And then contracting with Eddie Marlowe to do some of the parade administration. Don't have a number on that yet. That was thrown out by the committee tonight. I did reach out to him before this meeting. He is agreeable to it. We just have to figure out how much he's going to charge and what all he's willing to do. And then, let me see here. Karen, was there anything else?
Just REACT, that takes care of REACT.
Yeah, it includes REACT, and we have them in the budget. Eastburg High School is willing to be one of the bands. I did reach out to Lenore Ryan. They have a bunch of stuff scheduled that day, so they're not able to be one of the bands. We are going to reach out to Western Piedmont Community College, Appalachian State, Freedom High School, Drone High School, Patton High School, and Chicago Valley Community College to see if one of them want to participate in that. That's all I got.
Okay.
What's their report from B-Day?
Did I skip that one?
You hadn't called them yet.
I'm sorry, I skipped it. Betty.
We meet Thursday.
All right. And in the parade, who else wants to walk along and hand out candy?
It's gonna be there. We need to know who's gonna be there to help.
Okay. All right, yeah, first, who's gonna be there? We'll line up people.
Luckily, this year, we're not lining up the way we did last year. There will be no lineup, but just getting people, in their spots and then ready to go.
So we don't have to make people mad.
Yeah, get there, what, about 10? What do you think, 9 or 10 that morning? Maybe 11? Parade doesn't start till 1,
I'd
but
say at least, probably about 10:30 at least. And
10:30, yeah, at least 10:30.
right, and we're asking, seeing if the Civil Air Patrol will help with that too. We've got lots of irons in the fire right now. So is all council members gonna be there? Okay,
As far as I know,
okay.
Well, thank you.
as long as they're not fell over.
We're checking on riding for the councils, why we need to know how many people.
Anything else? Okay. Other business?
There is a homecoming at Eastburg this Friday night. It's anniversary. They've invited all the former homecoming queens and band members and cheerleaders to come back. So it should be a fun time.
Very good. This Friday.
It's Eastburg's 50th year, so that's why they're trying to make it a
And I
really
feel
good to do
every-
the whole year.
It's been 40 years since I've been there, so.
I'm not telling you. I was never there.
Announcements?
I'll make one for the Burke County Chamber. So we actually hosted the Chamber Board of Directors this month at the depot for their monthly meeting. In terms of what they got going on, they're working on revamping their membership packet for sponsors. So we're currently reviewing it, going through changes. They have 644 members. They have 3 new members in the month of August. They had 18 renewals, a total of 9 events and celebrations, 47 member meetings, 6 prospective calls, 25 volunteer check-ins, and 116 chamber check-ins. That's all I got.
The class of 1944, there were a lot of the class members who did not finish school and they joined the armed forces. So the lady,
Lawrence's niece is a general at the Pentagon.
and she got a flag that
the flag that flew over the Pentagon that she is donating to the museum. And what we'd like to do is have for the council members and everybody here to sign this thank you card for her for doing that. And it honors the class of 1944. Not before we were.
Well, thank you.
So if you just sign. You got it here.
3 members left, right?
3 members left, just lost one. And he was a guard at the Newburgh trials.
Wow.
He did the, it was good to interview him. What was the guy's name that was so bad, Hitler's, going, he guarded him, that was his job. And he said he'd check on him every 2 hours. And he would walk him in the tunnel over to the trial. And I said, Forrest, how did he treat you? He said, pretty good, I had the gun.
Yeah, that worked.
Here's something kind of, interesting, since we don't have any council members up for reelection. They are doing a candidates forum, on September 28th, beginning at 6 p.m. at Western Piedmont Community College in the Leviton Auditorium. And they're having live refreshments at 5:30, if you want to go.
Mayor Valdez is a very interesting race right now.
Yeah, I hear that is good.
Okay, any more announcements? There's only one thing to do.
Okay, I'd like to make that motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Thank you.
Any, want that clean up along there, also, KFC, are they about done?
Yes. There's a little more in the budget.
Yeah, he's going.
Water power and all.
When I was in Tennessee, and that
I've been going in there as well.
Where would you put that?
Well, there's a big business park side of cows out there.
Yeah. They got a water power down there.
They're getting something out there. What they're building something out there now.
Yeah.
Already. They've already started building up there.
Still being.
You got you.